Hey guys, welcome back. We are doing lesson 12 for Wit and Wisdom. And our essential question is, what can we discover about animals' unique features? Our focus question today is, how did Jane Goodall make discoveries about animals? Our content framing question today is, what does a deeper exploration of illustrations and photographs reveal about the main character in Me, Jane? And our craft question is, how do I write a topic statement for an informative paragraph? So in this lesson, you are going to analyze illustrations, which are the pictures from the text, to see what more they reveal about the main character, Jane Goodall. And you're also going to begin focus question task 2 by writing a topic statement for your informative paragraph about Jane Goodall's discoveries after collecting evidence from the text. So what I'd like to do right now is I want to share my screen and let's practice our fluency. All right, so our fluency page here from me, Jane, Patrick McDonald. And Jane loved to be outside. She watched birds making their nest, spiders spinning their webs, and squirrels chasing one another up and down trees. So make sure that you're practicing your fluency and pausing at the punctuation, okay? Make sure you're reading the way you speak. All right, good job, guys. So I am going to sharing that screen and bring it back to me. Now, at this point in time in our lesson, I would have shared a video with you, but not today. I am going to teach it from my book, okay? Because I've got more things I need to discuss with our text and with our topic statement that we have to write. So let's get started. Besides the words, what else in a text can we use to learn more about it? Well, we use the illustrations, right? We use the pictures because that provides a lot of information as well. And so today we are going to be analyzing or looking closely at the illustrations in the book to discover and find out more about Jane Goodall. So we are going today to reread some parts of the book to take a closer look at the illustrations, sketches, and photographs. So with that being said, I am going to turn to page 6 and 7 in my book. I'll read it to you. It says, Jane learned all that she could about the animals and plants she studied in her backyard and read about in books. So let me show you the pictures. Okay. Now, what did you see in the illustrations on these 2 pages? Let me show you again. Now, on these pages, I see pictures of animals. Did you see that too? Yes. I also see some pictures are faded. And they kind of look real looking, don't they? And some of them have brighter colors. I also see some paint and a paintbrush. I see over here writing in a book and Jubilee standing right there looking, right? She's got a book there. She's got some leaves and a starfish and some shells there. So she's studying some nature, right? Okay. Well, let's go on. Let's look at another page. Now, on this page, I can't really read anything on this page, but I'm going to show you the illustrations because there's a lot of illustrations on this page. Notice the wild bird puzzle, the alligator society. You've got something with brains. You've got something with animals' mouths. You've even got right here about Cobra's page. And you've got a picture, it looks like a painting almost of a bird right there. You've got some wings. Okay, so what can you tell me about the illustrations on these two pages? Well, I see a lot of things that she's hand drawn, hadn't she? I see puzzles that she's made. There's an alligator photograph. And there's a painting. See, there's the photograph and there's the painting. The two wings are different. I see numbered the heads here or the mouths here on these animals. The brains over here, and some of them are colored in. And then there's that yellow bird that's up here that's been painted also. So there's a lot going on this page. Do you think this could actually be something from one of her sketchbooks? It's a good thought. What did you learn about Jane by looking at those illustrations and those drawings? Well, made me think that she was really curious about animals, didn't she? And maybe she liked to read books about animals and study them and plants. She made puzzles and drawings about them. And she even made some paintings on some of them. Wow, she really liked animals, didn't she? You think she spent a lot of time on those things? It looks like it because it wasn't scribbled on there. It looked like there was a lot of details in these pictures. There were some words on there, so she wrote some things down, maybe things that she learned about those animals when in the process of her drawing them or sketching them. So how did she find out about these animals? Do you think she had to observe them? Remember, that's one of our words from the last lesson, observe, meaning she had to watch or examine this animal, maybe study it, possibly. And where did she do all this at? In her backyard, maybe going to a zoo, possibly. Okay. So let's look at page 30 and 31. On 30 and 31, it says, and fall asleep. Now, what do you see in this illustration on these pages? You see where Jane's asleep and who's beside her? Jubilee, and that it was nighttime, right? Great. Okay. Let me read the next two pages. To awake one day. So now let's look at these two pages. What do you see here on these two pages? Well, looks like she's outside because I see plants in this picture. And it doesn't look like her bedroom, does it? Doesn't look like her bed. And you know what? She looks older, but she doesn't have Jubilee with her. And it's daytime, right? Okay. So let's keep reading. To her dream come true. What do you see here in this illustration? Well, I see a real picture of Jane and a little chimpanzee. Cute, huh? It's a photograph of an adult Jane in the jungle with a chimpanzee. So this is an actual picture. And it's different from the other illustrations because this is real. And if you look at it, she looks happy, doesn't she? And she's touching hands with the chimpanzee. So she's there actually observing and watching, isn't she? Yeah, she sure is. So what have we learned about Jane by looking at the author's illustrations and photographs of Jane? Well, I know when she goes to sleep, she's a little girl, but then when she wakes up, she's grown up in the next picture, isn't she? Yeah. And the last photograph that I showed you was an actual photograph, wasn't it? It was an actual photograph of her living in Africa, helping the animals like she always wanted to do. And she ended up living there when she was older. She dreamt as a little girl about wanting to work with monkeys. And so her dream came true. So when she grew up, she got to work there. And you know, Jane is a real person because at the end, there is a real photo of her doing what she dreamed of. So let's think about this a second. How did the illustrations and photographs show how Jane made discoveries about animals? What did it show? Well, we know she observed the chickens and the animals and the squirrels in her backyard, right? Yes. She read about animals. She created her own animal drawings and facts, right? And she dreamt of going to Africa one day. And then she actually did go to Africa. Now, remember, by working hard, Jane was able to achieve her dream of living and working with animals in Africa. And remember that we discussed how illustrations and photographs in Me, Jane showed that in many ways, Jane made discoveries about animals. And so now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what you will know, what you need to know about Jane by planning an informative paragraph about her. So let's look here. One more question. What do we notice about the illustrations of Jubilee? Remember her little pet monkey? Okay. He was always with her wherever she went, except for that last photo, right? Okay. He looks like a real monkey the way she handles him in her pictures and everything, but he was actually a stuffed animal. And it seems like he enjoys being with Jane and doing what Jane does, doesn't he? He sure does. Okay. Let's share my screen again. I am wanting to show you what we are going to work on now. We are going to look at this right here. And I'm going to let you listen to our friend talk about this for a minute, okay? And then we will go back into working on it ourselves.
Take a look at your screen at assessment 12A, focusing question task 2. Here are the instructions for the task. Write an informative paragraph to answer the focusing question, how did Jane Goodall make discoveries about animals? Checklist for success. Be sure to include all of the following in your response. A topic statement that tells about Jane's discoveries, 2 or more details that support how she made the discoveries, a conclusion, and complete sentences begin with a capital letter and end with a punctuation mark. Before you write your paragraphs, you are going to gather evidence so that you have something to write about. As we reread sections of the text, we're going to be collecting evidence for how Jane made discoveries about animals. Listen for what Jane discovered about animals and how she discovered the information. When we're done reading the sections, we'll add the evidence to our evidence organizer that you see on the screen. Here's an excerpt from pages 2 to 4. It's from the Fluency handout, so you can follow along with me as I read. Me, Jane. Patrick McDonald. And Jane loved to be outside. She watched birds making their nests, spiders spinning their webs, and squirrels chasing one another up and down trees. What did Jane discover about animals in this section? Share with your learning partner.
Okay, so what did she learn? She watched birds making their nests, spiders spinning their webs, and squirrels chasing one another up and down trees, didn't she? That was something that she discovered. And how did she do that? She watched them. She was watching them. Let's see if we're right.
I wonder, did you say that Jane learned how birds make nests and spiders spin webs?
Mm-hmm.
What about how squirrels chase each other? I'm sure you did. Now I wonder, how did Jane discover this about animals? Share with your learning partner. How did Jane discover this about animals?
We said watched them. Let's see if we're right.
I'm sure you said this too. Jane discovered this information by watching or observing. Now let's read a few more sections. Listen carefully as I read this excerpt from page 6. Jane learned all that she could about the animals and plants she studied in her backyard and read about in books. Think, what did Jane discover about animals on this page? Share with your learning partner.
So what did she learn? She learned about plants and animals in her backyard, didn't she? Let's see if we're right.
Yes, I'm sure you said it. Jane learned about plants and animals in her backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Now think, how did Jane discover this? How did Jane discover this? Just say it aloud. How did Jane discover it?
How did she discover it? She studied
You
it.
said this as well. She studied and read books.
Yeah.
Now, listen as I continue to read some more excerpts from pages 10 through 14. She and Jubilee snuck into Grandma Nut's chicken coop, hid behind some straw, stayed very still, and observed the miracle. Now, what did she discover? Share with your learning partner.
What did she discover? She watched chickens lay eggs, didn't she? She discovered the miracle of chickens giving birth. Let's see if we're right.
Yes, she discovered that chickens lay eggs. How did she discover this?
How did she discover that? She sat back and observed, didn't she? She waited and observed and was very still.
She discovered this. Tell your learning partner. I'm sure you guessed it. She sat still and observed. Now, let's add the evidence we just heard to the evidence organizer. Okay, take a look at the evidence organizer.
Now, you do not have to write that down. I just want you to look over it, please, okay?
Jane discovered birds make nests, spiders spin webs, and squirrels chase each other. And she learned this
By watching.
Let's look at the evidence we collected from pages 6 and 7. Jane discovered more about plants and animals. And how she discovered this was by studying and reading books. Okay, let's look at the last one. From pages 10 through 14, Jane discovered that chickens lay eggs. And she discovered this
Observing.
Pause the video for a quick break. When you are done, just unpause the video. Now that you've collected evidence, you're going to start working on your informative paragraphs. You'll have the opportunity to practice your whole informative paragraph, but first, you're going to write a topic statement for your paragraph. Now, before you do that, let's take a minute to review some criteria for topic statements. Remember, topic statements state the main topic of the paragraph. Topic statements make the reader want to read. And topic statements include interesting words. For this focusing question task, you'll be answering the question, how did Jane Goodall make discoveries about animals? Remember, you can use words in the question to help make a topic statement or topic sentence. I want you to think, which keywords in the question could you use to write your topic sentence? Specifically think about, what did Jane do?
So let's think about this. What did Jane do? She watched, she observed, and she studied, didn't she? So those are things that she did. Jane Goodall studied about what? She studied about animals. Jane Goodall observed what? She observed about animals. She watched things, didn't she? Let's see.
Think specifically about what Jane did. All right, what did Jane do? Tell your learning partner. I know you said it. Jane made discoveries about animals. Now, before you write, I'd like you to say your topic sentence or your topic statement aloud.
Jane Goodall made discoveries
now
about.
Pause the video and write your topic statement in your journal.
Okay, go ahead and write. Jane Goodall made discoveries about animals. And I'm going to write on the board so you can see it also. So Jane Goodall made discoveries about animals. And let me make that bigger so you guys can see it. Okay, so that needs to be written in your journal, okay? And you may want to put today's date on that as well as 10/27, okay? 10/27, but you're not going to turn this in, okay? You're going to hold on to it because we're going to use it for later purposes.
All right, friends. Now that you've written your topic statement, you're going to practice the details you'll add to your paragraph. Remember, the focusing question task asks how Jane made discoveries. So take a look at that second column of the evidence organizer. And remember, in that organizer, we list how she made those discoveries. Now, I want you to rehearse your sentences for your supporting details. For example, you could say, Jane watched animals. Are you ready?
Yes.
the video and practice rehearsing your sentences for your supporting details aloud.
Okay, so we need to come up with 2 details about Jane Goodall made discoveries about animals. What did she do? She observed chickens laying eggs, and she watched birds making nest, right? Okay, or you could say she studied about plants and animals in her backyard. Those are all great details that you could add to your story.
All right. Now, you've practiced the topic statement and you've practiced your details. What part of an informative paragraph is left?
Conclusion.
Your learning partner.
We didn't write the conclusion, did we?
I know you said it. It's the conclusion. That is a part of the informative paragraph that is left. Here is a sentence frame you can use for your conclusion. Jane Goodall learned about. Remember, where you see those blank lines is where you would fill in your thoughts. Jane Goodall learned about. Now, it's your turn to practice your conclusion. You can say it aloud to your learning partner or just practice it by yourself.
Jane Goodall learned about what? Animals, because if we go back to our topic sentence, Jane Goodall made discoveries about animals. She learned about animals, didn't she? So we know she watched, she observed, and she studied. Great job. Okay.
All right, now that you've practiced all of the parts of the informative paragraph, you practiced your topic statement, you practiced your details, and you practiced your conclusion, it's time to put it all together. Your job is going to be to orally practice your informative paragraph, meaning you are going to practice your informative paragraph aloud. You can use the topic sandwich chart as a reference if you need it. In the next lesson, you'll have the opportunity to write your informative paragraph. Pause the video now to rehearse your informative paragraph aloud.
So let's rehearse it. We're not writing it down yet, okay? Because that'll be the next lesson. So Jane Goodall made discoveries about animals. Jane watched animals in her backyard. She observed a chicken laying an egg. Or you could add a detail of she studied nature. Jane Goodall learned about animals. So what's yours? I can't wait to see it.
All right, awesome first graders. A nice job analyzing the illustrations and photographs and starting to work on your informative paragraphs. So Jane Goodall. Next time, you'll continue working on your paragraphs. Until then, be kind and do something great because you are capable of greatness.
Awesome, friends. So let me get it back to stop sharing. Okay, let's make it not so big here. All right, so we are in the learn part of our lesson, and we are doing another Shades of Meaning today. And this is the word we're using today. She cherished Jubilee. What do you think cherish means there? You're right. Cherish means to love something a lot. So that is going to be our word today is cherish. So let's think of some other words that could mean cherish. So we're looking at cherish. What are some other words that mean cherish? So if she cherished Jubilee, what does that mean? She loved, okay, or she liked him, okay. Do you think that was one of her treasures? Yeah, could be a treasure. Great. Do you think she cared for Jubilee? Yes. Did she adore Jubilee? Do you know what adore means? Adore means that she really cared for and loved him. Yes, adore. And what about honor? Did she honor Jubilee? I think so. Okay, so we have love, like, treasure, care, adore, and honor. All those words mean the same as cherish. So what we're going to do is, using your shades of meaning, and you've seen what it looks like. You've got, it's 12A, the shades of meaning. And what we're going to do is these words in order from greatest to least. Okay, so let me slide this paper over again. And let's think about this. What is another word that would rank right up there next to cherish? Maybe adore? Because that's like you adore something, you love them. Okay. Well, if adore means the same as love, do you think we should put love next? I think so. What would you put next if you love something? Maybe you like it or you treasure it. I'm thinking treasure because I think treasure means a lot more. Okay. What next? Like, care, or honor? I think care also. You care for something. What about like or honor? Like, perfect word. And then our last word, we would put honor. So our words in our order would be adore, love, treasure, care, like, and honor. Awesome job, guys. Make sure that you send that in for your grade also. Keep your topic statement in your journal because we will be using that again tomorrow, okay? So until then, I'll see you later.